discussers. Tiny Rebel again. Actually, this is totally relevant to tonight because this is one of their advent calendar beers and it's a trifle white stout. Very nice. Bit like their jammy, what's the name beer? Can't remember what we call it now. Never mind, I like that one. But anyway, like I say, bugger all to do with tonight because tonight we're having la pizza. Oh, before we sort of get telling you about pizza and everything else and how it's got to do with this shirt and how it's got nothing to do with the beer, but I'm really talking about it. We want to get our yeast working. So I'm just going to make one pizza. Okay, I'm not being greedy. Making one big pizza, biggish pizza. Well, I hope so. We'll find out. So in this bowl, I'm going to put 150 mils of warm water. And then I'm going to add, where's it gone? Bloody salt. I'm going to put salt in it. Then I've got 5 grams of dried yeast. If you're using fresh yeast, you can use more than that. It's up to you. Anyway, that's going to go in there. And we're just going to mix that in. And we're then going to let that get going, as it were, as the actual centre of the shot. So, our pizza dough. Now, we're doing thin crust. Part of the reason being, we ain't got a lot of cooking time tonight because we're quite late starting, so I couldn't start earlier. If you want it to be thicker crust, then you're going to need to let it rise for, it could be up to 2 hours, but because we're going for thin crust, we don't need that long. All right. So anyway, we've got 3 different flours here. Doing it properly. Okay. First off, in here, I've got some of the old 00 all-purpose flour. That's 135 grams, and into that I'm going to add some general purpose. Again, notice this is Italian. Doing it properly. This is generally sort of wheat flour, and I've got 100 grams of that. That's going in there. And then finally, we've got some semolina flour, 15 grams of that. And that's going in there. And we're just going to mix all that together. Okay. Just move them out of the way. And then we're going to mix into that some salt, which is what I picked up earlier, which I thought was my, my yeast. And I've got 5 grams of salt. In that goes. Mix that in. Now you could do this in a stand mixer with a dough hook if you want. I'm not going to bother. All right. Now the next thing we do, because we need the oven hot. If you've got a pizza stone, which I ain't got, you'd be putting that in and getting that hot. We're going to whack our oven on now at 250, and then we're going to make our dough. So now I'm ready to add in some of that yeast water, and what we're going to do is we're just going to add a little bit at a time, start mixing it in, and the only other ingredients going to go in this dough is some oil. Now I've got about 18 mils of oil there, olive oil of course. So pizza. What actually inspired me to do pizza, I needed something quick and easy because I didn't have a lot of time today to prepare a normal, elaborate extravaganza. So instead, I thought I need something quick and easy that I can sort of do fairly quickly and easy. So I wanted something quick and easy. And anyway, I got bought this shirt. Christmas present. Toy Story. Like Toy Story. And I suddenly thought, hang on. Can I do a Toy Story related meal? And of course, one of their sort of things, when Andy goes out, one of their little treats, don't escape, is to go to Pizza Planet. So I thought, what about pizza? So that's hence the reason I'm doing pizza. Now, getting these flours mixed in, it's still very dry, it's not mixed in that well. Like I say, you can do this in your stand mixer with your dough hook. But we're going to do it by hand. And what I'm going to do in a second, I'm going to start blending in that oil. And because that's going to get messy, I might do that off camera. But pizza, you know, traditionally people think of pizza as traditionally Italian. Well, it is. But pizza, in some incarnation or whatever, it's a big word, isn't it? Especially given that 6% alcohol. That's my third. A precursor of pizza was probably in Italy focaccia bread, I don't know bloody say it, which the Romans knew as panis. Pardon me, this beer's a bit gassy, it's not my fault. Panis focius. Be careful how you say that. And they added toppings to it, i.e. a bit like a pizza. So, we know sort of pizzas, even though they weren't necessarily called that, were around in Roman times. But they're earlier than that. So I've got my oil mixed in, and I've tipped it, and we'll get my beer around. I don't want to spill that, do I? Actually, that's the last of my trifle one. I ordered some extras. They let us, if you bought the advent calendar, a bit fuck off expensive. Wife bought it for me. They had some bloody good beers in there. Equally, they had one in particular that was foul. Vegetable soup flavoured. Anyway, after Christmas they let us, if you bought the calendar, you could put your name down and buy any of the beers you fancied. I bet they don't sell that bloody vegetable soup one. So I bought them, but although I like that one, I've decided that it wasn't my favourite of the ones I bought, so I've drunk that one now. Might have a coconut one next. That's nice, I've had that. Anyway, what I'm doing here is kneading my bread and my dough, sorry. And you want to knead it till it's nice and smooth. Okay, the longer the better. So, I said to you about Romans. Well, actually, back in the 6th century BC, the Persian soldiers apparently used to bake bread on their shields, in the sun or over the fires. They'd bake flatbreads, which they used to flavour on top, put toppings on it, dates and cheese, pizza, innit? Other places or other times they might have herbs, garlic bread. And then in the, is it the Aeneid or the Aeneid? I think it's the Aeneid, which was written about 19th century BC. There is a reference, the Harpy Queen Hippolyta, I think her name is. No. Where did I get Hippolyta from? Nothing to do with Hippolyta. Where the bloody hell did that word come from? Kalano, the Harpy Queen, basically said to old Aeneas that the Trojans would never find peace until they were forced by their hunger to eat their tables. And they thought, a woman's off her head. Well, she's not really a woman anyway, she's a bloody harpy. But she's not right in the head. But anyway, a little while later, Aeneas and his men were served up a meal, I'm not quite sure where, and it consisted of round cakes topped with cooked vegetables. Pizza. And they suddenly thought to themselves, these round things, they're the tables. She was right. But they didn't call them pizza then. It wasn't until quite a long time after, 997 AD, in Italy, you had the first reference to the word pizza. So, that's brought us a little bit more update. We're going to get a little bit more up to date. But I'm just going to carry on kneading this. Now, I don't know how well you can see this. This is starting to look nice and smooth. And when it is, what we're going to do is we're going to whack it back in that bowl, cover it over, and we're going to let it rise for about half hour or so. Okay, my oven's on at 250. Okay, I've put a baking sheet in there, ready to put this on, nice and hot. Like I say, if you have a pizza stone, put that in. And then we'll look at the toppings. Although, if you're an Italian, you will not be putting pineapple. Pizzas don't have pineapple. No such bloody thing as a Hawaiian pizza to an Italian. So that's my pizza dough, nicely. Oh, that's nice. And I'm going to plop it in there. Now you might have noticed a baking sheet there, because I suddenly thought to myself, I'm going to make my pizza, and how the bloody hell am I then going to transfer it? Because I do have actually one of them big pizza paddles. It's in the garage. Just never use it. So I thought I'd never better get the bloody pizza out and put it in the baking sheet. So I've had to take the baking sheet out of the oven. But like I say, if you had a pizza stone and you've got a means of transferring it from one to the other, I've just got to remember not to touch that. Right, so I'm just going to cover that over. And we're just going to let that rise. Like I said, if you were wanting like a thicker crust, could let that sit there for like 2 hours. But we're going thin crust, so it don't matter. Okay, and my beer's running out. So I'm going to now go and get another beer, and now we're going to start preparing our toppings, which we are making, and I probably can't pronounce this right, a pizza Capricciosa, or Capricciosa, I don't bloody know. And that is traditionally certain ingredients, but I'm going to come more to that in a minute. But I'm just saying, just before we move on and get me another beer, 16th century now, Naples, there was this galette, flatbread type thing, which they often called a pizza. But people said, that's for poor people. That's not even worthy of a recipe. It's for poor people, street food, it's shite. We're not having bother all to do with it. And at that point, it didn't have any tomatoes in it. Now the wife just appeared, so I'm going to have a break now because I think she wants something to drink. We've on now our coconut cream stout, 5%, so a little bit less alcohol. Obviously, got to be careful. Pardon me. It don't look anything like coconut. Well, I suppose you might say it looks a bit better like an outside of coconut, doesn't it? Very coconutty. Well, I know that because I made it already anyway. Anyway, we're going to prepare, obviously, the toppings. So in here, I've got about 200 grams of passata. Now, tomatoes weren't on pizzas until obviously, well after the Spanish had introduced tomatoes to Europe. Probably to begin with, they've just sliced a tomato. I'll just about eat tomatoes like this, sieved in it. You can make it from tomatoes. You can like mash your tomatoes up, sieve it through, and then do that. I've just bought passata. All right, perhaps a little bit runnier than we want, but we're not going to use that much. And into that, I'm going to put a good heaped tablespoon of dried oregano. It's all right, oregano. All right, and then we're going to add some freshly ground black pepper, freshly ground salt. Probably won't use that salt again. You might want some pepper later. And then I'm just going to put like a tablespoonish of olive oil in there. There we go, that'll do. And then we're just going to mix all that together and put that to one side. And then that will form our tomato base, if you like. So, like I said, tomatoes were introduced to the pizza well after, obviously, tomatoes were then available. Obviously, they couldn't do it beforehand, could they? Although, which bloody sick person thought, oh, these are lovely, these fruit, or whatever you want to call them, I'm going to bring them and introduce them to Europe. Bloody left them in America. Bloody idiots. But gradually, as time went on, we got more and more variety of toppings. So the famous writer Alexandre Dumas in 1843 actually wrote about the huge diversity of pizza toppings. So we know in 1843, not only were the pizzas, but people had lots of different toppings on it. Didn't have pineapple on it. Pizzas don't have pineapple. There's no such thing properly as a Hawaiian pizza. As we don't do it. Not a lot. Let's. Oh, by the way, the wife decided she wants some tapas, so she went and bought extra meat. I said to her, "I want some prosciutto." Now you could use just ordinary sort of cooked ham, or you can use prosciutto, or you can use what bloody hell meat you like. So I said to her, "You can either get a mixed selection of meat, or you get a pack of prosciutto." So she did both. Claimed it was a mistake, but it's funny that she just said to me, "Oh, are we not having a little starter for the meat?" She bloody knew what she was doing. The other toppings that we're going to use for this pizza, Capricciosa, or what the bloody thing is mushrooms. So what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to slice up some mushrooms, little white cremini mushrooms, or just basically mushrooms, doesn't really matter. Okay. I mean, you can use whatever toppings you want, but I'm trying to be a little bit more traditional with this particular type of pizza. Because like I said, you know, these things were made with a variety of toppings, but there's sort of certain standards, particularly in Naples, which is sort of, some respects, considered one of the birthplace for the pizza as we know it. Okay, and this particular pizza has mushrooms, like I said to you, cooked ham or meat, black olives, artichokes, and mozzarella. So I've got some mozzarella here that I've drained. Okay, I've got some artichokes that were marinated in oil or brine or whatever. These were oil, but you can be in brine or whatever. I think they're oil. Yeah. We're going to put them onto it, but essentially, apart from no bloody pineapple, like another one then. So I'm more or less ready now. We're just going to let that go for a little bit longer, and then once we've made our pizza, we can start addressing the toppings. But just before we do it, June the 11th, 1889, the Queen, well actually she was a consort, Queen Consort of Italy, Margherita Savoy, was at a particular restaurant, as it were, or event or whatever, and the famous Neapolitan pizza maker, Raffaele Esposito, thought, "I'm going to make one in her honour." And he said, "I have created for you the pizza margherita, which has tomatoes, mozzarella and basil, because they represent the three colours of the Italian flag." That's all very nice. The trouble was, people were always talking about a pizza margherita back in 1796, so we didn't really invent it, but he tried to. So I'm just slicing up the mozzarella. You could, if you want, do it by hand, you know, break off lumps, it's up to you. We're just going to cut some slices. Probably got too much mozzarella here. Oh, I don't know, it's went on the bloody floor then. I bought 2 balls because I thought 1 ball might not be enough. Ooh, bloody hell, that bit's stuck in there. So I've got the prosciutto, I've got the olives, artichokes, mozzarella, sliced mushrooms, the tomato sauce, all good to go. Now remember I said to you, for a long time the Italians considered pizza street food, only the poor ate it. And I already mentioned Samuel Morse, well not Samuel Morse, Alexandre Dumas, who talks about the variety of toppings. Samuel Morse, the inventor of the telegraph and the Morse code, 1833, described pizza as a species of the most nauseating cake, covered over with slices of pomodoro or tomatoes and sprinkled with little fish. Little fish. That's a different story altogether. And black pepper, and I know not what other ingredients. It altogether looks like a piece of bread that has been taken reeking out of the sewer. Not quite sure what pizza Eve's eating or looking at. So like I say, people ignore pizza. In the 19th century, when they wrote cookbooks on Italian food, no one ever mentioned pizza. Basically, it was like, we don't talk about pizza. It wasn't really until 1930s that pizza started taking off and spreading. So we're going to start by forming our pizza. So the dough does actually feel quite nice and airy. Okay, if you need a little bit of flour, you can get a bit of flour. But basically we're just going to sort of stretch this out to a nice sort of round shape. I should drop this on the floor and then I'm fucked, because I've got nothing else going. So perhaps I'm better not. So anyway, so in the I'll say to you about 1930s. By the 1930s, the Neapolitans, people from Naples, started going out looking for work and moving, spreading through the country northwards, as it were, taking their cuisine with them. So, you know, pizza gradually sort of became more and more sort of spread throughout Italy. And then, of course, we had the war. And then when the Allied soldiers invaded Italy in, I'm just getting a bit thin in that place there, in about 1944, they got very taken with pizza. Now, one thing you've got to bear in mind is how big a pizza stone is. Don't make it big any pizza. Like I said to you, I took my tray out mainly because I just thought to myself, I'm going to end up not being able to transfer this. I'll do it on the side. How the bloody I'm going to pick it up and put it on the baking tray. So, like I said, also, if you obviously wanted a thicker crust, you have to make the bloody thing thicker. So anyway, the Allied soldiers actually were really taken with pizza, and everywhere they went in Italy, I want a pizza. I want a pizza. Probably didn't say it like that, but who knows. I wanted a pizza. And they therefore were keen to have this back home. And so, as a result, pizzas became sort of part of American culture, even though it was still thought of, this is Italian food. But it became sort of like, as far as Americans were concerned, the #1 Italian dish, other than the pasta, but no pizza. So, therefore, Toy Story, when they go out for their little treat, they go to Pizza Planet, don't they? So, now, if you wanted to be adventurous, and I'm not going to be because the wife will probably say, can't eat that, too much cheese. You could make it slightly bigger and put some cheese on it and then roll your crust over, make a, one of them cheesy coated crust, or not coated, but you know what I mean. So, I think that's about going to do. Actually, this is getting a little bit more square. So, it's now time to start preparing. Got a bit thin there. It's about time to prepare our toppings. Our oven's nice and hot. Only takes about 10 minutes to cook it. Okay. So, make our tomato sauce. And what we're going to do is we're just going to spread this over the top. More or less covering the whole pizza, but don't go, right up to the edge. Leave a little bit of a gap. So here we are with our pizzas with a variety of toppings. I told you this is more of a traditional one. Actually, the ingredients in this one is very reminiscent of the I think it's the Quattro pizza, but normally when they make that one, they, you know, like you have 1/4 is one thing, like the meat, another quarter would be like, I don't know, mushrooms or whatever. Whereas this one, it's like spread out fairly evenly over the whole lot. So I haven't quite used all of that tomato. Like I say, using passata, it's a little bit, thinner, sorry, than perhaps it might be. Oh, gone right to the edge with that bit. Fail. So I think that's going to do. So let's put that by to one side. And the next thing we do is we take our mozzarella and we just basically get very generously apply mozzarella over all the pizza. And actually, I shouldn't have probably eaten all the mozzarella. I should have saved some for me. So now we're going to apply our other topping. We're now just going to add our meat, okay, just sort of fairly evenly as you can, spread it out. We're using, like I said, prosciutto. You could use just ordinary sort of thinly sliced cooked ham, it's up to you. Like I say, perhaps some of the more traditional would use basil leaves, get the green in it. I don't think there's any, apart from this artichoke, is sort of an off green colour, there's no green in this one. I think I might have some shrimp ham left over. Some people add an egg. You know, some people crack an egg on it and cook it with the egg on it. Really, to be honest, apart from parmesan, apart from bloody pineapple, which is a definite no-no. I'm perhaps going a little bit overboard here on the meat, but who cares? We like our meat. Although I might save that last slice for a little appetiser. Oops. And then what I'm going to do is I've got, like I say, this marinated artichokes. I'm just going to. So what really, like I said, if you're doing the quattro stagial, the sort of 4 sort of stations, if you like, you would like not do this, but because what we're doing, we want it to be fairly evenly distributed. Okay, so just get that on there, and then I've just got my mushrooms and olives, but I'm going to wash my hands because that artichoke's a bit oily. Okay, the final thing is we're just going to add some sliced tomatoes. Sliced mushrooms. Again, just sort of spread them about. And then finally, just going to add some black olives. And then this will cook for about 10 minutes. And well, you can serve it with a salad, you can serve it whatever how you like. But I think that might do. Just trying to make sure they're fairly evenly distributed. So, put it in towards the bottom of the oven. Okay, get the blood door open. At about 250, in it goes. Set my timer. I almost forgot myself, then I farted. In fact, I might have to come off camera. There we go. Oh, I better set that at 15 then. So, just get cleared up, get my plates ready. Have me fart. And it'll be good to serve up and try it. Got a feeling this is going to be a bit messy. Still a bit bloody hot. There you go. We did add a fair bit of salt to the dough, because I was going to say we didn't really add a lot of salt in here, but unless that's come from the meat. It's not too much, but nice saltiness. tang from the tomato. Crispness of the dough. Didn't have any meat on that bit. I'm vegetarian. Even though I drained that mozzarella, there was still quite a bit of moisture came out of that mozzarella. But even so, by draining it, at least it ain't soggy in the middle. Not as crispy as the outside, but fine. But there you go. Your pizza capricciosa, whatever it is, I don't know. Pizza, olives, mushrooms, mozzarella, artichokes, and prosciutto. There. No pineapple.